How did you see it today, Staffy?
I, I just want to go back to what Cam said, because we had this conversation. Like me and Cam were texting about this about a week ago, right before that game where he got sent off. So it's still a very relevant topic. Cam, you're a very intelligent guy. I take you as a very smart guy. I just can't understand how you still watch United and you still think Bruno's the best player. And I don't want to focus on Bruno because he didn't play today. So I'm not going to make this a Bruno-centric match reaction, okay? I will not talk about him because he didn't play today. My issue is with United is that every time I tried to tell them that we would be a better team without Bruno, they assume that I rate all the options that are on the bench. They don't. I don't know why it's hard to understand that when I say that. I'm mainly addressing that if we sell him and we replace him with a specialist in one of these positions right now, we would look like a better team. I don't like Bruno. But how long have I been on the terrace? If there's someone I don't like more than Bruno, is this motherfucker on the side over here. Understand me now. It should say punch me now. Because I cannot stand this guy. And the way this guy has this fan base in a chokehold where they think he's the best thing since sliced bread.
Casemiro.
Oh, Casemiro. Yeah, I mean, he's on. I don't know why you put him there. I when I saw the link, I generally didn't.
He was horrific. What do you think you put him there?
Bro, I can't stand this guy. Let me tell you this, and Terry and Kim, you two especially. I hope you respect what I'm about to say right now. I don't like Bruno, and I've been very vocal about it for years. But this guy, Casemiro, the only reason he gets away with it is because he's won trophies for a club that's not ours. I swear to God, if after today's game, if the Casemiro just goes like this, takes off his suit, and apparently like Scooby-Doo, takes off the suit, and he's Bruno, I would have been shocked. This guy gives the ball away more than Bruno, but because Bruno doesn't have the resume that Casemiro has, he gets away with it. They're literally cut from the same cloth. They're both grenade football. Go back and just watch his highlights. Actually, they're not highlights. Just the moments where he gets the ball. Just look, wallahi, look how many times we're in a good possession where we're keeping the ball moving it. He does a dumb possession, whether it's a Travella, whether it's a long pass. Bro, the guy doing Travellas when you can't even pass a regular pass. Maybe learn how to
come around on Ugarte
5-yard passes before you do Travellas. And that's my issue, Cam.
When I say come around on Ugarte then? Is my question on this. Have you come around on Ugarte in this system at very least? I know you didn't really love
No. Ugarte's different. I mean, he didn't play today. 100% today we would have looked better if Ugarte's there. But I already acknowledged to you when we spoke. I don't want to speak about our private messages here because it's irrelevant to the content. But I knew with this system change, he was going to benefit the most. So I'm just not trying to make it like
you are right about Cass. I would look at it this way: Bruno losing the ball 20 times in a game. I know it frustrates people.
Okay,
let me just say, but he's typically further up the pitch, trying to create chances. When you're in a holding midfield role, a CDM role, you don't want to be losing it. By the way, you won't get any praise for today because we didn't win. But anyone that thinks Kobbie Mainoo is a bust because he had a bad game against Wolves, phenomenal when he came on today in every single which way. Awesome. Phenomenal. He lost the ball 5 times. So for me, I can stomach a ball being lost 5 times by a DM in a game. Casemiro today, 19 times in a holding midfield role, he lost the ball. It's
19?
19 times.
I was trying to say that's the stat that I wanted to mention, Terry. He just gets away with it because of the name. People need to understand. I said it last week, and I like to stay as consistent as possible. People think I have agendas, but I'm gonna try to be consistent. Last week, I said if you would have swapped Bruno with Cunha, who would have won the game? And everyone said Cunha. And that was because he's a better specialist in that position than Bruno. Today, I'm going to do the same thing. If you swap today, Casemiro with Bruno Gomes, I wouldn't say we would have won because they still had a lot more quality in Isaac and them. But would we have looked a lot better in that midfield department than when we had Casemiro? And if you are saying no, you're generally lying to yourself because Casemiro was so wasteful. And he wasn't the only issue. I'm not going to pick on him. I want to mention some other things. But he was such an issue today in our midfield that I don't want to say he got scapegoated because Xerxes wasn't good. He needed to come off. But Amorim said we were suffering and I needed to bring on another midfielder. So his idea is we have no control. I need to bring in someone who has midfield experience and who could keep the ball. And that's why we had to do that. And it's not a coincidence, obviously, that when we made that, and to be fair, they were already 2-0 up. So they kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit. we looked better when he came into this team. We need specialists in these positions, and it's not a shocking to anyone to hear it anymore. But I want to say one thing, and I want to criticize Amorim, because I've been, obviously everyone knows I joke around and I'm like, oh, Senior Amorim, da 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 da, and I've been very, very like fond of him since he came in. It's time to start criticizing him a little bit, and I'll say why. I agree, Terry, when you read out what he said. He was like, any manager that gives up his ideas already done, all that stuff. I agree with that, and I don't want him to give up what he wants to do. However, he has been here long enough where I think there is a bit of adaptability that he should do. So if you don't want to change the shape, I have no problem with that at all. Die on that sword. However, we have seen multiple times that when we play Mazraoui and Dalot, we're technically playing a 5 in the back. We're not playing 3 in the back. Amorim plays 3 in the back, but that's what he did at Sporting because he had wingers playing up high. When he comes into this league, and especially that he doesn't have the team that he wants yet, we are conceding a lot of the ball. So what happens when you concede a lot of the ball? You see what you've seen today. We have 2 wingers that have no offensive-minded, like when they go forward, they're just not there. So you see Dalot struggling on the left. You see Mazraoui struggling on the right. He's done it a few times, and we haven't scored a goal when Mazraoui and Dalot are playing together as a wing back.
In open play, yeah, that's true.
From open play, yes. So far you've seen that it doesn't work. When you play them 2, it looks like you're approaching the game more defensive than attacking. We need to have someone, at least in one of those wingback positions, who's a little bit more attacking minded. That's why I used to play Ahmed there. Even though we sacrificed the 10, you've seen Ahmed, when he plays in that role, he's a little bit more free. He's able to do something. And obviously, you put either Rashford or Garnacho or whoever was playing there, so you technically have one more attacker. You might not rate who that attacker is, but he's still attacking minded. That's what the manager needs to adapt to.
I agree.
Can I have my say a little bit? Can I talk about Man United? Am I allowed?
Yeah, of course, Camo. Go on.
Okay. Just a couple of
Don't
things.
just say it like that, like we shut you up all the time. You're always allowed.
Hold on, bro. You speak a lot, bro. The problem with you,
I've missed like an hour of the show.
Baby, the problem with you, I'm gonna tell you.
With me, what did I do?
KJ, Cam, I think you guys are analyzing the tactical thing and all the games and all the stuff. I just think the club is dusted. I think these players, all of them, Ranić said it. It needs an open house. With all due respect, Terry, I told you in straight facts and on the match, I thought Amorim would change the mentality. The only 2 games that I think that Man United from the last 6-7 games is the 2 games where the adrenaline kicked in. The Manchester Derby and the Arsenal. Where the players on the pitch were fighting the right way, trying to manage.
Sorry, I want to stop you for a second. I know you want to talk because I want to ask you a question. I want you to
go ahead. Yes,
specify something. So you've said that we're dusted and that we're finished, but then you also expected the manager to sort out the mentality. How did you expect the manager to sort out the mentality of a club and team?
I'm going to tell you. Okay. Do you remember when I told you that maybe Amorim is the right guy because his personality, when I hear him in the media, he talks well, and I think he can lead this team to change the way they think about games and the way I approach. I'm a big believer in the way that you approach games as a psychologist before the games to convince you that you're a big club, you're a big team, that the shirt weighs a lot, to step on the pitch knowing that you are winning this game. This is your game. I thought that Newcastle today stepped on the pitch. It's more belief that they are the better team to win this game. And I thought that Amorim would be able to change these players. And apparently, it doesn't look like it. Maguire looking at Casemiro. The players are looking at each other. And it's not a Bruno problem. It's not. I know that Staffy is talking about Casemiro, Højlund, whatever. I just believe maybe Ruben Amorim, maybe, is not the guy to change the mentality of these players. Maybe you need to switch the whole squad. The problem is you can analyze tactically, guys.
Hang on. So I want to ask you a question. I don't want to lose that point. I want to ask you a question about it because I think that's a really good point that you made. I think the squad needs to change. I understand that. So do you think that the players have the ability to play the system and the style that Amorim wants, but Amorim just isn't able to make the players believe? But they have the ability, but they don't. But the manager is.
They're not bad players. Yeah, of course they're not.
So your view is that Amorim is not coaching them well enough to make them believe in themselves.
No, he is. We saw it in some games. I told you the setup. I think the main problem with Man United now. Guys, I thought the main problem of Man United now is the mentality of the team. Ruben Amorim himself said it. We're a big club, we aren't acting like a big team. You can't tell me that Diego Dalot is a shit player. Lisandro Martinez isn't a bad player, guys. Rasmus
one second,
Højlund
Mo.
is not an
okay.
amateur footballer.
One second.
Can I? Mo, have you ever
Go
had
ahead,
it in
Mo.
life?
Let this point one
Yeah,
second.
Go ahead, yes.
No, so and I need to get this out because
Okay.
he said something. It's just like, okay, cool. Have you ever had it in life? Have you ever had a friend or family member that no matter how much you tell them that they can succeed, no matter how much you can tell them that they are this person that can get better, they just don't? There's only so much someone can say to you that you can become better, and if the mentality is not there,
Mentality. Thank
and they
you,
don't wanna-
Tayyip. You
they
agree?
don't wanna switch it. If they don't want to
Mo,
switch it,
I
they don't
do
want to
agree.
switch.
Wait,
We agree,
guys,
Tayyip. We agree.
Mo, I do agree with you.
Mo.
So I will come to you next, Staffy. I'm sorry, mate.
Yeah.
I do agree with you, Mo. I asked you the question because I don't think the manager can do anything to change the majority. I don't think you could go in a time machine and bring Fergie back from 1985. I don't think he can change the mentality of some of these players. You know why I think that? Because Fergie couldn't change the mentality of the really good players at the club in 1985. He had to get rid of them. This is why Ten Hag had to go in the summer. This is why I don't care about the ability of these players. I'm at a point now where, like sometimes you start to yield on your own beliefs. And you're like, do you know what? I think that's a good point there about ability. And maybe in this system, he'll shine. I should have stuck to my guns. The mentality problem at this club, it's like rot has got into these players.
Thank you.
And I gave this analogy years ago, and I should have stood by it. I shouldn't have abandoned it at all. What we have done at this club for 11 years is there's rot in the roof joists. And what we keep doing is replacing little bits of wood or covering up damage because of the rot with new pieces of wood. And then eventually the new pieces become rotten as well. And you can't ever fix it. What we need to do is take the whole fucking roof off and start again from scratch. But that's also why we're struggling. So when people say, "Oh, Terry, you think the squad was better than this?" I think on ability they are. I think on mentality they're worse than I believed. And what I mean by that is, look, everyone's gushing and having a wank over Elanga. And I don't mean that as a diss towards Elanga. I mean it. There are some that are going, "We should bring him back. We should bring McTominay." Look at Elanga and McTominay and what they're doing. But look at the shit everyone said about them when they were at Man United.
Jesse Lingard settings, man.
Rashford is going to leave and do well. Okay, Bruno is going to leave and probably do well because he's going to go into a new environment and that rot is going to be gone. And this is why some Man United fans are not built for this. They are still in this weird mindset that we won the league a year ago and all we need is a new player and a new coach and we're going to be okay. They have absolutely, and I don't even mean this in a horrible way, and I don't wish to sound condescending, but it will come across that way. As along with needing better quality players and more physicality, I don't think you can fix the mentality of this squad, no matter how good you are a coach. You literally could put Pep, Fergie, and Amorim in there together as a triple threat. At least had a threesome. As a triple threat, they're not changing their mentality, right? They're not changing their mentality. It's gone. Their heads are gone. They need to go. The problem is, and this is where the patience comes in, and this is what Man United fans don't want to hear. You can't get rid of 23 players in one window and buy 23 players. That's why it takes time to rebuild the club. This is what Arsenal had to do. Chelsea had done something similar. Liverpool had to do it. And I'm sure there's other examples out that you cannot change it that quickly. It isn't like a really good boxer getting a new coach. This is fundamentally different. And I don't care about the ability of these players, the mentality of them. And Gary Neville said something really important during the game. He said Amorim's face looks like Ten Hag's did. And it was almost a case of, and Gary Neville's words were like he's shocked. Almost, they weren't this bloody bad in training. And I bet they're not. I bet in training, I would love to put a wager on this. I bet if we went and watched these United players train, they didn't know we were watching because that's pressure. But we went and watched them train behind closed doors. I bet you'd go, fuck off, we don't do that in real games. Comes to the match, the lights, the noise, the fans, shrinking violets. That's the